This is 10 minutes and 30 seconds of infrared sensor footage recorded on January 1st, 2024 by a United States military platform operating over Europe, submitted to AARO by the United States European Command as part of a formal report to a federal archive. The image stream originates from an infrared imaging system and shows a single discrete signature that the sensor software and operators tracked intermittently as the platform moved and the background scene shifted beneath it. Early in the clip, the object appears as a compact thermal contrast against a cooler backdrop, remaining identifiable for long enough that analysts could examine its motion relative to fixed features in the scene, while later sequences show the object holding relative position even as the sensor slew and the platform adjusted its attitude. The Department of Defense recorded and provided this material under the source agency designation of DoD, and the file was entered into the evidence set that AARO uses for case intake and assessment. AARO assessed this incident with high confidence and concluded that the footage depicts the presence of a physical object, an attribution based on consistent thermal structure and coherent motion signals across multiple frames. At the same time, AARO characterized the object as having morphological features, performance characteristics, and behaviors that are unremarkable in the context of their evaluation criteria, and on that basis the office determined that the clip does not currently warrant deeper technical analysis. Unresolved in AARO terminology in this case means that while a physical object is present in the imagery, the available sensor data and ancillary records were insufficient to attribute the object to a known class or origin with confidence beyond the physical detection. The report notes that should additional information become available, including higher fidelity sensor recordings, supporting metadata, or corroborating observations, AARO will reconsider and pursue further inquiry to enable a more conclusive attribution. For viewers watching the clip, the important elements to keep in mind are provenance, sensor type, and analytical framing. The imagery is infrared. The submitting authority is the United States European Command, and the examining office categorized the encounter as unresolved while leaning strongly toward a physical object interpretation. The investigators highlighted that the object's morphology and apparent maneuvering did not display exceptional or anomalous traits relative to the catalog of cases they maintain, which is why the case was folded into routine archival analyses rather than opened as a high-priority anomaly investigation. That archival role is essential because unresolved reports like this one feed statistical and locational trend studies, helping analysts map where sightings cluster, what sensor types capture them, and how often available data permits clear attribution. The limitations of infrared imagery matter here. Thermal sensors record temperature contrast and can omit visual texture and color, while platform motion, atmospheric conditions, and range estimation uncertainties reduce the dataset available for firm identification, constraints that the reviewing office acknowledged in its summary. The submission date and the observation date are close in this record, and the chain of custody described in the accompanying material indicates the footage was preserved and transmitted through standard DoD reporting channels before intake by AARO for review. Because AARO judged the object's observable behaviors and shape to be within expected bounds, the office did not escalate the matter to a specialist working group, though the record remains active should new evidence arrive. From a public archive perspective, this clip illustrates the kind of material that most often remains unresolved on initial review. Clear sensor detections that nevertheless lack the complementary data needed to assign a definitive explanation, whether conventional or otherwise. The case adds to a larger dataset used to understand the distribution and characteristics of UAP encounters across regions and sensor suites, and that broader research is what, over time, allows analysts to refine detection thresholds and investigative priorities. For anyone seeking the original document, the supporting release package, or the formal summary prepared by the reviewing office, the agency record and the archive entry provide the official language and the exact administrative details that contextualize the imagery. This footage does not settle the question of origin, and the office's deliberate classification of the report as unresolved reflects both a finding and an invitation. It is a snapshot of what was observed, a reasoned assessment about what the imagery does and does not show, and a placeholder that may be revisited if further data appears. Find the source document, related archive material, and our weekly UAP News podcast at UAPDrop.com.